Make sure you watch until the end. Disaster number 5 will blow your mind and change the way you see our planet. Some disasters don't just destroy cities, they change the Earth itself. Volcanoes explode. Tsunamis wash away entire coastlines. The ground breaks apart. And these aren't scenes from a movie, they really happened. Now we'll look at 5 terrifying natural disasters that reshape the planet forever. Would you survive any of them? Let's start with Mount Tambora in Indonesia. In April 1815, this volcano exploded in one of the most powerful eruptions ever recorded. The sound of the explosion was so loud, people heard it from over 2,000 kilometers away. That's like hearing a sound in one country while living in another. The volcano shot tons of ash and smoke into the sky. It rose so high that it blocked sunlight around the entire Earth. The result? The next year, 1816, was called the Year Without a Summer. It snowed in June. Crops failed. Millions of people around the world went hungry. And the mountain? It shrunk by over 1,000 meters. A huge crater still remains where the top one stood. This one volcano changed the Earth's climate and landscape for years. Next, we go to the Indian Ocean tsunami on December 26, 2004. A massive 9.1 earthquake hit under the sea. It was one of the strongest ever measured. The shaking caused a tsunami, a series of huge ocean waves. Some waves were taller than 10-story buildings. They crashed into 14 countries, destroying coastlines and homes. Whole towns were wiped off the map in minutes. It was one of the deadliest disasters ever. Over 230,000 people died. But it didn't stop there. The seafloor moved, some islands shifted several meters, and even the Earth's rotation was slightly affected. Yes, this tsunami was so strong, it literally made the planet spin differently. Then we go to the great Chilean earthquake of 1960. Here, the strongest earthquake in human history shook the land. It measured 9.5 on the Richter scale, the biggest ever. The ground shook for nearly 10 full minutes. Buildings collapsed, the earth cracked open, and giant waves traveled across the Pacific Ocean. The earthquake even caused a volcano to erupt days later. Rivers changed direction. Parts of the land sank forever. After the disaster, even maps had to be changed because Chile's shape was no longer the same. This one quake reshaped an entire country. Now let's go back to Indonesia, to a volcano called Krakatoa. In 1883, Krakatoa exploded in one of the loudest sounds in recorded history. People heard the blast from over 4,800 kilometers away. That's across entire oceans. The explosion caused a 40-meter-high tsunami that hit nearby islands. Over 36,000 people were killed. Entire villages disappeared. The sky turned dark. Ash and dust circled the globe, turning sunsets deep red for months. And Krakatoa? It vanished. Most of the island was blown away, leaving behind a giant hole in the sea. Years later, a new island started to rise from the ocean. It's called Anak Krakatoa, or Child of Krakatoa. This disaster erased one island and created another. Finally, we go to the Tōhoku earthquake and tsunami in Japan, 2011. A powerful 9.0 earthquake struck under the sea. It lasted over 6 minutes, long enough to destroy everything in its path. Then came the tsunami. Waves rushed toward the coast, smashing towns, roads, and power plants. Over 20,000 people were killed or went missing. But the danger wasn't over. The tsunami caused a meltdown at the Fukushima nuclear plant, making it one of the worst nuclear disasters in history. The land itself moved. Japan shifted 2.4 meters east, and the Earth's axis tilted slightly. Even satellites in space had to update their maps. That's how big this disaster was. These weren't just disasters, they were planet-changing events. Volcanoes exploded, oceans rose, mountains and coastlines moved. Maps had to be redrawn. We live on a planet that's alive. It moves, it changes, and sometimes it strikes back. Would you survive one of these world-shaking events? Tell us in the comments. Want more real stories that sound like science fiction? Then hit subscribe and stay curious. Because next time, we dive even deeper.